So Emily, the amazing Emily, how did you find out about the project?
Well, when I got to Austin, one of the things that was apparent, although in the media sometimes, there's really, it was frustrating because a lot of the times there were really only a few filmmakers that the media would cover. You know, a few of the really big name filmmakers, but what we found out really quickly was that there are literally hundreds of movies being made. So we started covering them. We started doing these little 10-minute short segments just to kind of put them out there and show the rest of Austin how diverse and broad the filmmaking community was. So just in the process of doing that, we came across this post needing 12 to 15-year-old actors for zombies, and just Justin, the other cinematographer, sent out an email, and Megan called us and said, well, by the way, my daughter's 12. So obviously we were going to cover it for a shorter segment, but when we got to talking about it, we thought, well, what if we just kind of follow her around throughout the process? Maybe it could be something longer. And we ended up shooting 140 hours of footage with her.
Wow.
So
did you find her pretty early on in the project?
yeah, she had shot a little bit with another main actor, another girl who would have played the role that Rose played, and it just didn't work out. And so she recast it and she started over. So she did technically start shooting it, but as far as the footage that actually made it into Pathogen, we were there for the whole thing. Yeah.
It just sort of felt like I don't know if do you think a film would have got the same sort of support somewhere like New York? Because it feels like with the Alamo and I don't know, it feels like much more nurturing perhaps for a 12-year-old than other communities, other film communities.
Right. I mean, I would like to think so. I don't have any experience making movies in New York. I don't know, but certainly, like I said, there are so many movies being made, and there are definitely opportunities to find people who just donate their time to help you, regardless of whether you're a 12-year-old girl or a 34-year-old man. But yeah, I certainly do think that the Austin film community is supportive, but I can't talk about if she were to have shot it somewhere else. I don't know.
Was this your first feature?
First documentary feature, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions from anyone?
I kind of love that you never showed her film, and then it's much more about the process of making it. But now I'm like itching to see at least like one clip from her movie. And what was that decision like to leave that out?
Yeah, and that's a very popular question. Yes, the drive of the narrative is her shooting this movie, but I think we were kind of hoping that we could find sort of a deeper meaning in it, and the decision to put footage in or not put footage in was probably one of the harder ones we had to make. And in the end, we kind of just wanted to say, this is a really unique relationship that is, centers around a 12-year-old girl making a movie, but the focus is really the uniqueness of the relationship between Emily and her parents. So,
I mean, it did seem like a lot of that film really does become about her relationship with her mum and the way that her mother really wants to work in film, almost perhaps more than she does. I mean, it's really lovely the way that you sort of see how they work together and how well that works sometimes and not other times. But
right.
there's such a lovely sort of bond there.
Yeah.
It's really moving. What's Emily up to now?
Actually, I just saw her second feature. It was called The Retelling.
She did make a second feature?
Yeah,
Wow.
she's done. Yep. She just had a cast and crew screening for her second feature. It's called The Retelling. And it's, technically, it's worlds ahead of Pathogen. She got a DP. She has her friends are also artists and filmmakers, and her friends have specific things they want to do, so she was able to find a kid who wants to be a director of photography, find a kid who wants to do sound, who wants to do lighting. So she had kids doing specialized jobs, and
Amazing.
You can really tell that it looks like a real movie.
How old is she now?
She's 16. Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. 16 with 2 features.
Right?
behind her.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Was it hard to resist, like, just saying, this is gaffer's tape, and it'll help you out in the long run, I won't interfere, but like, did you have to not hold yourself back from saying, just or anything?
Sure. That's another very popular question. When I think back, I'm sure there were several moments where I was thinking to myself, this is an obvious mistake. But in another sense, this was our first feature too. And we didn't have a crew. I mean, it was usually just me or just Justin out there. We didn't have boom operators. You know, we had a wireless on her, and we had a big shotgun on the camera, but that was pretty much it. So a lot of the times it was just trying to make sure I was doing everything that I needed to do right as well. But there were times when I would bring more equipment than I needed to the set. So, you know, when I see your mom with a paint roller doing audio, and I had a $500 Sennheiser mic in my trunk that would have easily made their sound so much better, it was difficult to say how much of this do I want to get involved. But, you know, whether you're covering a filmmaker, and I'm a filmmaker, or you're, you know, covering anything as a documentary filmmaker, you just kind of have to step back and allow it to happen as organically as possible, even though you're there with a big, huge camera following them around. It eventually, we kind of fell into the background as much as that's possible. So a lot of these issues I've only thought about once this process has come about, that at the time everything just happened so fast that we were just trying to make sure that the camera was in focus and that we could hear everybody and stuff.
And she learnt the great lesson of audio.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
has to figure that one out.
Right, yeah, her new movie sounds great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can wrap up. Thank you so much to everyone for coming, and thank you. They've come all the way from Texas for this, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks.
And congratulations.